we'll just wait for everybody to recall out before we start going to the next one. This puts us back in the first instance. And we don't need to buff. We're only going to be in this instance for a couple of minutes. Alright, we're all here. So this puts us back into the first Slayer zone. And we might as well see if this rares up to the right up here. Maybe somebody can use some, is it goggles that drop out of this guy? Mage Right spectacles, maybe? But he's not up. Anyways, there's a rare here that I think drops the Mage Right spectacles, but that may not be the item. There's a shrine over here if you ever needed it. But obviously we don't need it. Also, the elevator, come over here, guys. I just want to show you the elevator is right over here. The lever will not unlock until these golems are destroyed, though. So come back over here after the golems are destroyed. And then you just, the display is kind of wonky. It looks like you'd fall, but it's solid. But then as soon as you activate the lever, you fall. Anyway, so this puts us right next to that very first room when we first came into the Artificer Workshop. So if you're joining a group late, this is the elevator you're going to take to go right to either one of the raids as a shortcut. And there's a explorer here on the left. There's a scroll by this dead body. And just go ahead and go into the research facility. And here there are some objectives that we have to do too, just like when we were clearing the way to Master Artificer. We can go ahead and buff up here, because there are some fights. Let's go to the left first. And just showing you, here's one of your crafting stations here for your alchemical stuff.
If you ever come out here by yourself and you want to craft something and you don't have a hard time getting past the cannon, keep getting shot trying to open the lever, can't kill them or whatever, you can always make yourself invisible and ride up to the lever and open it.
Oh, that's a good tip. Yeah, this back in the day when this level cap was 20, this part was really hard.
It's still hard to get that lever open if you don't have invisibility and you're by yourself and you're like level 20 or something.
Yeah, that's true. The crafting devices are also inside the raids, but you don't have to use those. You can just, use the ones in the Slayer zone. Obviously, they're a lot more accessible. And we're looking for 3 levers now. Here's one of them. Now we can head out. There's an explorer right here if you want it. And here's the second lever. And there's a shrine up here. And another lever. And now we can move to the next part of the zone. You can see there are 3 signal crystals above this door indicating the 3 levers that need to be pulled. Now there's going to be a little bit of a fight here with a red name. And he drops a chest, but nothing named comes out of it. There's another display bug, basically. You're not going to fall here, even though it looks like you will. Once he's dead, there's a lever right over here on me. I'm jumping up and down right now. And that just activates the elevator. And then there's the chest over here as well. After you get your loots, go ahead and jump down the elevator shaft. If you're quick enough, you can sometimes squeeze by on the side of it and keep falling, otherwise you'll just have to ride it up. And then ride it back down. There's gonna be some more trash here. All of the trash in this zone needs to be cleared before you can advance. And I've seen it happen where, like, a guy got pulled back to under the elevator back there, and you know, it seemed like they were all dead, and you're looking around for something. And bottom line is, make sure that you kill all these guys and look around in case you lost track of one if the door doesn't open. Okay, so we're open here. We can go to the west. And then there are runes in the 4 corners of this room. Oh, yep, chest. Forgot to mention that. Forgot to loot it myself. Nothing named drops from that chest. We just want to activate the 4 runes in the corners of this room. And then we're going to fight that iron golem. And the water here does a little bit of force damage to you, not that big of a deal.
Do you need high wisdom to activate the runes or anything?
I don't think these are ability. I don't think these are ability runes. I think anybody can hit them. Alright, we can continue to the west. We're going to come back to use this shrine. We're just going to clear this room of some drones first. And there's a explorer here on the console. And some ruins here that'll open the way. Alright, that's the raid entrance. You can come back and use the shrine if you want to. Yep, no need to buff, because we're going to be stepping inside the raid here in just a moment. You'll lose him when you zone in. Alright guys, again, just because this is a teaching raid, we're just going to do epic hard, so that, you know, you're not stuck with death timers and stuff like that. And so it's not such a stressful environment. So who here, of the 8 people that signed up, of the 8 people that are newer, who is it their first time doing this raid? Alright, lots of first timers. That is awesome. Very cool. So we got at least 6 first timers, 7 first timers. That is so cool. We can go ahead and buff up here. There's also not a shrine on Epic Elite. On Epic Hard, there will be a shrine before the end fight. Alright, let's move together. There is a lockup point just up ahead. There's a doorway. So let's make sure that we just all go step just past the doorway, and then we won't continue until everybody gets through here. I don't know at which point this shuts off, though.
Just around the corner, just right up there.
Oh, okay.
You start fighting stuff, it locks off.
Ah, good to know. Alright, since we have a lot of first timers, we are going to take the tour. So, if you know how this raid works, don't go ahead. We're going to go over here and take the little tour. And even people that have run this raid many times, a lot of them don't know that this is here. So go ahead and step onto the elevator. And this is actually a tour. It's actually a guided tour. You can turn your DM audio on if you want to. A voice guided tour. It's an audio tour.
Completely fancy there.
I will say that I don't know what happens if you fall off this platform. So don't fall off. and we're gonna be
You're stuck in the water and you die.
we're gonna be this is actually the end fight here, but we're gonna fight our way to it in a roundabout way.
Wow, that is quite the device.
I think that's what infuses Warforged with their sentience.
Eberron is such a neat D&D world.
Pay close attention to the couplings at the bottoms and the tops of these pillars, because that's going to be important during the fight. But just take note of where they're at. And I'm referring to these couplings here. These are the couplings that we'll have to destroy during the end fight. There's the Lord of Blades. The Lord of Blades is right there in the center. He's the original Blade Forged. Thus concludes your guided tour. There's also on the other side, there's a balcony that you could just look over and look out over the end fight, but you're not going to see anything different than you just saw. And we're just gonna fight our way to the end fight now. It's just a bunch of trash. Nothing particularly special.
Is the DC of the stun reflex based?
I believe so, but somebody check my work on that one. It might even be Fortitude, I'm not sure. You're talking about the tactical detonation thingy? Over here, by the way, you could do a skill check, and if you get it, then you can get an extra chest over here.
Skill check is significantly lower if you're Warforged.
Anybody can search out this wall here. And we'll need a chest unlocker. Oh wait, no, this isn't locked, I guess. I thought it was. Yep, come on down. We're just continuing to fight our way to the end, and actually this is the end fight coming up. Final shrine. Go ahead and shrine up. The only shrine. And like I said earlier, the shrine is not here on Epic Elite. Once we shrine up and we get buffed up, we'll go to the end fight, and I will explain how that works.
It's not here on Heroic Elite either, is it?
I think you're right. Let's move forward before we do any other buffs and songs. Just step to the edge of the main circular platform and don't go beyond that, because this will also lock out here at the side of the bridge where we entered from. Kind of like Heroic Abbot here, you just want to step to the edge of the platform. This bridge that we just crossed will disappear once we start the end fight, so you can see the Lord of Blades there with his Hound of Blades on each side, and then some trash mobs. Also, take a look around. This is where we did our guided tour. Look at the pillars, and you'll see the couplings at the bottom and towards the top, and they look like sort of connected stalactite, stalagmite thingies made of jelly or something, I don't know, plasma. Those will become vulnerable at different stages throughout the end fight, and we'll need to destroy them. And it's actually destroying all the pillars that completes the raid. It's not killing the Lord of Blades. The Lord of Blades, every time you take him down to nothing, he just regenerates to full. It's actually just killing the pillars, but as we beat down the Lord of Blades, the pillars will become vulnerable. Now, there is one part of this raid that I do differently than what you're going to see in most pugs, and that is we are going to kill the hounds. I think most pugs are going to have a person assigned to just kite them around, just to run them around in circles. I like to kill them just because, you know, if the kiter goes down or something, things start to go wrong, and those dogs start running around all over the place. They do this like vomit, for lack of a better term. It's like a pool that's kind of the same color as this greenish bluish water that's around us, and it does electrical damage, I think, and those can be dispelled, or not dispelled, but break enchantment, I think. In any event, you don't want to like hang out inside those puddles. Were you gonna say something?
No, in harder difficulties, they cannot be healed through. They're just like the puddles in MOD.
Yeah, you want to stay out of those puddles. So it doesn't take a lot of effort to just kill the dogs, and so basically we're going to kill all trash right away, and we're going to have a tank pull the Lord of Blades to the side. And then once all the trash is dead, we can start working on pillars. People who have stronger ranged power can start working on the bottoms of the pillars. I think only the bottoms of the pillars are vulnerable to start, and then melees will be able to beat on the Lord of Blades at that point. The dogs will actually respawn when the Lord of Blades is at 70% health, 30% health, and 10% health. Each time the dogs respawn, we're going to have the melee DPS group, or all DPS, everybody but the tank, is going to break away from the Lord of Blades and work on the dogs until the dogs are destroyed. Now, you can see that there's a light shining down from the forge there. Periodically throughout the raid, a buff will appear there, and the buff will just look like what you see now, like a light shining down. If you see that, go ahead and grab it. If somebody doesn't grab it pretty quickly, then the Lord of Blades will, and then that gives him some pretty significant buffs, so we really don't want him to get those. And the only time you don't want to grab it is if like you already have a buff. And if you grab it a second time, you'll suffer from like some kind of overload, and you'll be stunned for like 20 seconds. So if you see it and you already have one and you can't get it again, just call it out. Just say buff up.
The third time it'll kill you.
Oh, really? I knew it killed you sometimes. I didn't realize it was third time.
Yeah, you keep grabbing it, it'll kill you.
You grab by just clicking on it?
You just run through it.
Just run through it.
Run through it. Thank
Yep.
you.
And after the original buff has timed out, and it's only like a 2-minute buff, you're safe to get additional buffs. It's only if you already have the buff and you get it again, then it becomes problematic. So then once the Lord of Blades gets really low, then the tops of the pillars will become vulnerable and you just want to take the rest of the pillars down. There's going to be trash that spawns. I like to have people just focus solely on the trash at that point, just to get them out of the way so they're out of our hair. There may be a few waves of trash, and at that point it's going to be like Quarry mobs, like those Quarry Dream Wraith thingies, and those Elemental Quarry Dream, I can't remember what they're called, but they're the ones that sort of float around, and there's like a red one and a blue one and an acid one, and they're healed by the corresponding elements. I forget what those are called. But we're going to beat all that trash down and then go back to pillars. But because we have an artificer with us, we're going to do an optional, and that optional is what's going to give us a chance to get the final upgrade to the rune arm that comes from the Master Artificer, which Sunman just got. And that is, we are going to do what's called marking the Lord of Blades. And you'll see the optional appear in the quest box in the upper right hand corner. And what marking the Lords of Blades means, that we're actually going to beat him down 3 times. So we're going to beat him down to nothing. He'll regenerate to full. We'll beat him down again. He'll regenerate to full. Then we'll beat him down a 3rd time. And that's marking him all 3 times, or bringing him down all 3 times. We'll complete that optional and give us that extra chest that can drop the... What's that thing called? That final upgrade part? It's got a funny name.
I can't remember what it is. They all have weird names.
In any event, it's the final upgrade to the rune arm. So we'll do that for our arty. So make sure that we do not take down all the pillars. Taking down the pillars isn't an urgent matter at the end. We really just want to focus on beating on the Lord of Blades, and he's going to be zooming around at that point. In fact, and he's going to be flying up in the air. And whenever he does his like Superman flying up in the air and he lands again, his aggro will reset. So you want to usually give the tank a chance to reestablish aggro. Also, is there anybody here that would like to try tanking the Lord of Blades? And don't worry about doing something wrong.
Paydor can do that.
Okay, have you done it before?
No, I've never done this quest before.
Okay.
But I do tank.
Awesome. So here's what you need to know as the tank. He puts this thing on you called Touch of the Mournlands, and he adds that to you when he hits you with his trident. You see he's got that big bad trident. So when you see him rearing up with his trident, you need to shield block, and if you shield block, you won't take on the Touch of the Mournlands. For every stack of Touch of the Mournlands you get, it starts pulling off more and more Constitution, and so you can end up with very little hit points if you get that stacked up. So what I want you to do when we're ready is you're just going to go and grab the Lord of Blades and pull him off to the left side or right side. It doesn't really matter. Just kind of back up to the edge of the platform, and you're gonna have your back to the outside of the platform. Your back is to the water, and then once everybody else kills all the trash, we'll start beating on the Lord of Blades from behind. Now, at various points, he has special moves. One of them, he does this like whirlwind attack, and I'm gonna try to, High Lords, let's please try to call that out. Just when he does that, he starts swinging his trident around, and you just want to stay away from him. He can do quite a bit of damage. Epic card's not going to be a big deal on Epic Elite. He can mess some people up if they have like lower PRR. He also does Rain of Blades, which is basically it looks like raining crystals. The center is a safe zone from that if you're finding that the damage is too overwhelming for you. These days, most people could just stay out in it, and it's not that much damage. But like I said, if you're finding that you don't want to take that damage, you can just go to the center, and that will shelter you from the rain of blades, and that just lasts like 10 seconds. Am I missing anything, guys? So the tank will grab the Lord of Blades and pull him off to the side. Everybody else will kill trash. And I'm going to talk us through every step of the way, but does anybody have any questions before we get started? Alright. Let's get a haste and we'll do this. Haste and rage. Anybody have haste and rage? There's a haste. That's going to have to be good enough.
I have rage. 1 sec. Oh,
That's fine. Paydor, if anything goes wrong, if you don't feel like it's working out for you, I would be happy to take over as the tank. Okay. This is just a good chance for you to practice.
Just remember, whenever you see his right armpit, shield block.
Yep. He rears up his trident, which is in his right arm. You need to shield block, or you will be sad. Also, the Hounds of Blades, when they're near the Lord of Blades, they give the Lord of Blades buff, so we want to make sure that we pull them away. So,
yeah, a lot of DRs, what they really do.
Let's pull the Hound of Blades away. Pull the Hound of Blades away from the Lord of Blades.
If it's been intimidated, you're not going to be able to just kill it. Ouch, that was fast.
Okay, so we do have Death Timer on hard. That's good to know. Couldn't remember.
I looked it up. It's 6 seconds, I believe.
Okay. So range tunes, go ahead and start working on the bottoms of pillars. You'll see that some of the bottoms are vulnerable. If you can survive the water on a melee, you can actually just run out there and start beating on it. The water ticks for damage, by the way. Pretty good amount of damage too. It's force damage that it does. Whenever you're off timer, Guild Hoarder, just call it out.
Will do.
Traditionally, the tank would jump into the water to get away from the whirlwind attack, but that's not as necessary these days. I always just stay in through it.
Ready.
Alright, I gotcha. Melees, go ahead and start beating on the Lord of Blades if you're not already. Okay, the dogs are going to respawn here any moment, so when that happens, we'll have everybody break off. Whirlwind, stay away from the Lord of Blades. You can see the buff is about to spawn there. Dogs are up, everybody break off the Lord of Blades, except for Paydor, please. Now look right now, you can see the vomit. It's kind of hard to see, but it's just kind of light green, light bluish. It's right there by the dog that just died. Generally speaking, you
Superman.
don't want to move through that. It buffs up in the center, anybody can grab it, makes you fly, allows you to float over the water. Once Paydor establishes aggro, then we can go into the Lord of Blades. Go ahead and start beating on the Lord of Blades. So this is the part when he flies up like this. A buff is about to come up. If you can see the lights starting to shine. Oh, and the Lord of Blades got it. That sucks. He was like right there when it spawned. But when he comes back down from his flying move, his aggro will reset. So please don't start beating on the Lord of Blades right away when he comes back down. Let Paydor grab the aggro first.
Or if you are going to beat on him, stand by Paydor when you do it. All he's got to do is just hit Intimidate.
The Intim on Epic Elite, by the way, is about 108 for no fail. Buff up in the center. Dogs will respawn shortly. There he goes. Dogs will respawn up any moment. Range tunes can start breaking off and beating on the tops of the pillars. If you look up, you'll see that the couplings are vulnerable. Let Paydor. Oh, that's the Rain of Blades now. So if you're taking too much damage, just go to the center. Dogs are up. Everybody except for Paydor and everybody except for Paydor work on dogs, please. So take note, like we're just on Epic Hard, and we got people taking some damage. So it's not, it's not just a gimme, and it gets even tougher on Epic Elite. And Epic Elite can still be a bit of a challenge, especially if you have someone that can't hold aggro on the Lord of Blades, who doesn't have high enough Intim, and the Lord of Blades just running all over the place, and you got people with lower PRR, and he could just tear through people.
Roll in. Wow, on that assist.
No worries, man. That's why we're doing this. This is a good time to learn. Now when you join a pug, you'll know what to do and what not to do. I was just a split second too late on the heels for both of you guys. Okay, everybody break off. Everybody at the pay door, work on trash. Don't worry about pillars anymore. We're going to focus on killing all trash right now, and then we're going to be marking the Lord of Blades. See what kind of damage. I'm getting about 100 electrical damage. 136 from being in the vomit here. 176. If anybody needs freedom of movement so that you can move through the vomit a little bit smoother, let me know.
Time is up.
Incoming. Go to the center for raise. We should just be working on trash except for pay door. You can see the Lord of Blades is going to continue to just keep flying around the platform right now. So keep a watchful eye on him. Alright, we can go back to beating on the Lord of Blades at this point. If we were not marking the Lord of Blades, we would just want to take down the pillars at this point. But we are going to be marking him so that we can get that optional. So we want to actually beat him down to nothing. Work on trash again. Everybody except for Paydor, work on trash, please. Do not beat on pillars. Once all trash is dead, looks like it's all cleared, start beating the Lord of Blades. Okay, now he's going to regenerate back to full health, and we're going to beat him down all the way to 0 again 2 more times. You can see the optional in the upper right hand corner. It says Grudge Maker, mark the Lord of Blades twice. DPS group, break off and kill trash, please. When you join Pugs, Whirlwind, when you join Pugs, your leader might just have certain people assigned to trash. Doing it this way allows the tank to build up some hate. Everybody back on the lob. Buff up. Somebody grab the buff, please. Okay, let's see, the Lord of Blades got it because we didn't get it in time. That's okay though. If you see it, just grab it. You don't have to wait. You don't have to say anything. I couldn't get it because I already have a buff on me. buff. Alright, now you can see in the quest box it says, Domination, mark the Lord of Blades thrice. So we have one more beatdown to do. Buff coming up. Ranged folks, go ahead and start working on pillars. Once there are only 2 pillars remaining, it will complete the raid. We definitely don't want to complete until after the Lord of Blades has been beat down a 3rd time though, which we're getting very close to. Alright, nice work. We have dominated the Lord of Blades, so Paydor can hold them for the rest of the raid. Everybody else can work on pillars. Tops and bottoms. You can see that the platform looks kind of cool from underwater. It's like a flying saucer. It's like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Work on the tops of the pillars now. And that is all. Good job, guys. We're going to have an optional that we're going to do. Does anybody have any questions about anything that's happened in the raid so far?
I think that was the perfect difficulty.
Great. Next time you can try it on Epic Elite. It's lots of fun.
Yeah.
Okay, we're just going to wait for a platform to appear after the Lord of Blades is done yakking. And then we're going to go to a room that has 4 elemental chambers that we'll step on a pad and we'll talk to a speaking stone and it will teleport us into those elemental chambers. Do not go in there on your own unless you're sure you can solo one of those chambers. There's like a huge elemental in each one of them, like a fire elemental, earth elemental, air, and something else. In any event, wait for there to be like 2 or 3 of you on each pad before you talk to the speaking stone, because once people are in there, it won't let anybody else in there until well, if they all died, then you could go in there. There are 4 pads, and we got 12 people. Let's get 3 people per pad. Just choose, doesn't matter which one, just choose a pad. Let's get 3 people on each one. Then talk to your speaking stones, and it will teleport you into the room.
That's before people are one of them. I say that with only one other person.
It's all good. And kill your elemental, and then there'll be a portal to go back after the elemental's dead. Alright, we're done here in fire. Just go through this portal.
Earth.
And this will just give us an extra chest, so it's a quick optional. Pretty much all groups will do this. And help yourself to the loots, guys. If you guys have any questions before we finish up, now's the time to ask. I really hope we get that thingy dingy for the rune arm. I'm sure our artificer would love to have it. Just can't remember what it's called. Isn't it like a variable something or other?
Yeah, something like that. I feel like I can't remember what it's called either. It's a weird name. It gives you mana when you get hit, just like before they're in opposition.
I don't think it dropped. Bummer. It's a pretty common drop too. I'm surprised we didn't see it. Also, take note that different spirits drop on different difficulties, and I forget which is which, but you'll want to go to the wiki and look to see which ones drop on which difficulties, so you know, like in the future, if you're only looking for exquisites, you'll know to run it on normal, for example, or whatever it is. Some materials will only drop on certain difficulties, and it's actually like the tier 3 ones, for example, have the best chance of dropping on normal, which is, I don't know if they meant to do it that way, because you did think that the highest tier would drop on the highest difficulty, but it's not like that. So like I said, check out the wiki for details about which ingredients drop on which difficulties. And you need 1 spirit for each tier. And there's some pretty cool items that can be crafted out of here. Last chance for questions.
Looks like we got the upgrade.
Really? That's awesome. So I'm sure that Sunman would love to have that. Very cool. I'm so glad that you got all the pieces that you need for that. Very, very cool. Thanks for passing that.
So what was the description of the upgrade?
If you can link it, I'm not sure if it says if the upgrade itself says, or if you have to like actually upgrade the rune arm before you can see. But it will be on the wiki. You can read all about about it there. Guys, thanks so much for coming. There'll be more teaching raids next Saturday, so watch the forums for that.
Thank you.
And you guys have a great night.